Hi everyone, my name is Katy and I'm the Director of Community here at Get Satisfaction. In this webcast, I'm joined by Ramya Krishnamurthy, our Director of Product Management. Together, we'll be discussing our philosophy behind creating Manage Workspace and the rest of our next generation applications. We'll give you a tour of Manage Workspace, as well as some best practices for using the app, and we'll cover what features are on deck for an upcoming release. Manage Workspace is just one piece of our next generation suite of applications, so we're going to take a step back for a minute and talk about our philosophy and how we got here. The core goal of our new applications was really to build and create with the appropriate user in mind. For community members, we're building a community experience designed to help them easily find what they're looking for and feel comfortable with participating. That application is currently available when you access your community from your mobile phone and will be coming to a tablet and desktop experience later this fall. For community managers, marketing managers, support reps, product managers, and other business users, we're creating the Community Management Console, an application that's completely separate from the core community, optimized to meet your specific needs. Everything you need to configure, manage, and measure your community will be available from one single location. Within the Community Management Console is where Manage Workspace lives. This application was initially under design and development for about 6 months. During the last 2 months, we ran a private beta program with 25 participating customers. Big thanks again to everyone who participated and gave us such valuable feedback. We launched Manage Workspace to the public on July 30th, 2013, and it's currently available to any community employee or champion with a management seat attached to their profile. So let's go take a look. Manage Workspace can be accessed simply by clicking the Manage link from the top of your community. Keeping our original philosophy in mind, there were 3 core elements that we wanted to achieve with the initial release of Manage Workspace. Specifically, we wanted our business users to be able to easily view the content that matters the most to them. We wanted all of the conversation, moderation, and curation actions to be available from the same place, and we wanted to make it very easy to switch between the desired views in order to enhance productivity. Let's talk about how business users can easily view the content that matters to them. By default, when you log into Manage Workspace, you're presented with the grid view. The default configuration of the grid view displays the basic elements of a conversation. The very first column of the grid contains much of the same information that you'd find by looking on the Recent Activity tab on the homepage of your community. It's sorted by recent activity, so the most recent reply, comment, or new conversation will show up at the very top of the list. You'll see the title of the conversation, how many replies and comments have been posted, when the last action was taken, and whether or not it was a reply or a new conversation. Let's imagine that I'm undertaking a curation project in my community. I'm going to create a custom view that maps to my needs. To manage your current view, move over to the orange conversation icon in the upper left-hand corner. This will open up the View slider. You can see that there are a couple of default views available to you already. Today's conversations will contain the conversations that have been active today. The No Employee Reply view will show you the active conversations in your community that have not yet been replied to by an employee. To create a custom view, click on the gear icon to open up the View Settings menu. From within the View Settings menu, you have a variety of filtering options available. One of my most favorite filtering options is that we have the ability to filter conversations that have been closed, archived, or removed. Now it's easy to find older content that you might have previously archived. The second tab within the View Settings menu allows you to control the columns that appear on the grid. By default, there are a few columns selected, but you can choose to activate and deactivate columns, as well as drag and drop to rearrange at your discretion. The very first column in the grid will always stay activated, but the rest can be configured to your liking. Going back to my curation project, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange some columns to create the optimal view. I want to make sure I'm looking at the type of conversation first, so I'll drag that column to the top of the list. Then I'm going to move the last activity date and the status right next to each other. I don't really need to look at the description of the conversation, so I'm going to uncheck that box. Then I'm going to scroll down to find the private tags column. I'm going to move this column to the top of the list with the rest of the columns and activate the column so it's visible.
Okay, and I'm actually going to place them right here. All right, so now that we have our columns in order and we have the columns activated, we can go ahead and hit Apply Settings, and we'll see that the view changes to what it is we're looking for. So we have, again, the conversation type, the last activity date, status, the private tag, and then the creation date. So when I'm curating content, I'm typically looking for content that is older or no longer relevant to my community. So I'm going to sort with the oldest content first, and that will bring up all of the oldest content in our community that is still active. And now, as I scroll through, I'm looking at these private tags. A private tag of FAQ typically means that I want to keep it around for one reason or another. So I'm going to look through and find some content that's out of date here. This question, for instance, can I give bikes as a gift? That's older. You know, we could probably add a new topic. Here's this other idea. It's about selling jerseys. That's not something we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and archive that as well. So you'll notice as I'm checking off these checkboxes here on the left, we have some actions appearing at the top of the page. So this icon right here with the 3 illuminated in purple shows you that you have 3 conversations activated, and from there you can take a couple bulk moderation actions. So for me, I want to go ahead and archive these conversations. So when you archive, as we all know, that a best practice is giving a reason as to why you're archiving the conversation. Archiving is just removing, you know, the search properties from the conversation so that nobody can find it. But if one of our customers still has a direct link to the conversation, they would be able to get to it even though it's been archived. So I want to let these customers know why we're archiving it. And it's just something as simple as, you know, topics are out of date. And we can click archive. And so now the conversations have been archived. They've disappeared from this view. You can access them again if you wanted to go into the archive content filter from the view settings menu. So now that I've done some curation in my community, I want to go back and actually take a look at some of the recent activity that's happened in our community. So I'm going to resort my view with the most recent activity appearing up top. All right, so now I want to talk about the second element that we focused on with this application, and that is making it easier for community managers by having all of your moderation and curation functionality all in the same place. So I'm looking through the recent activity in my community, and I want to take a look at this topic that Pepe asked about a month ago, asking whether or not we ship over to his house. So when I click on the topic from the All Conversations column, what we're calling the detail view opens up over here on the right. And this kind of has a very similar feel to an inbox, and that's how I sort of, you know, think of this a little bit. So from the detail view, you have a lot of information available to you. For one, you can see who posted the topic and what their role is in the community. So Pepe is a champion. If it was someone who wasn't a champion, their role would say customer or user. It also shows when he posted the topic. If he had included any sentiment, that would appear over here. We can also see what type of topic we're working with, as well as what the status is. Down below, we can see how many followers are following this conversation. That means these people are going to be getting those email notifications when you reply to it, and how many votes the conversation has. Here are the additional details that Pepe has included, and then our options for tagging are over here on the right-hand side. So let's first of all go ahead and reply to Pepe. And we can easily do this by clicking this reply button over here. That is going to open up a new reply box just below the topic details. And when you're in the reply box, you simply type as necessary. You can also copy and paste if you need to. So we could say, yes, we do. Find more information on our website. With our nice handy WYSIWYG editor, it's very easy to hyperlink to things now. So if I wanted to hyperlink website, for instance, just click on the link and you can copy and paste or type in whatever link you want. You can also easily embed videos from YouTube right now, as well as upload images. And what I love about uploading images is that it actually will place a preview of the image for you. Previously, we didn't do that, so that's pretty cool. You can also add some sentiment to your reply. So we have the 4 basic sentiment that you're used to seeing in the community: happy, silly, sad, or indifferent. But you can also add your own down here. So I'll just say that I'm thrilled and hit return. And then when we're ready, we can post our reply. So now that we've posted our reply, we'll notice when the reply appears that we have our reply moderation features available. And you can either post a comment underneath the reply by using this little arrow mechanism. You can edit your own content, or you can make the reply official, which we're going to do in this case, or fork by opening up this additional moderation menu right here. So I'll go ahead and mark my reply as official. So now in the community, the reply will appear at the top of the page just the same way that we're used to seeing from the community-facing view. And then, because this topic is such a great topic, it's really the perfect FAQ topic, I want to make sure that it stays kind of FAQ-ish and keep it nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and give it the private tag of FAQ. When I click to add our private tags, you'll notice that all private tags that have already been used in our community are available in this list. So I can easily just check off FAQ and hit apply. Now, if I wanted to create a new private tag, I would simply type the tag in this box and click create. So I'll do that now, shipping, and click create. And it would add the tag to the list, and then you would just, again, check it off and click apply. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as an FAQ. And then what I would like to do is actually close this topic for future comments or conversations, just to keep it nice and clean and fresh and very FAQ looking. So up here, again, looking back at the details of the topic, we see the same icon for moderation menus that you see with replies and comments. And this opens up all of the single action moderation tools that can be taken on this topic. So for instance, archiving, closing, merging, moving, etc. I'm going to go ahead and close the topic, which that means that people will still be able to search for this topic and find the topic, but they just won't be able to add any additional questions or comments. So I'll go ahead and click close. And we have this nice little banner up here telling me this conversation's been closed. So that's pretty much an overview of the topic details section. If we were to reopen the conversation, you can change the topic type if you need to from right up here. We can also set a status. That's a best practice, so I should do that. And then go ahead and close it. Another conversation that I want to work on actually has to deal with editing your own content. So previously in our application, once a topic or a reply or a comment received some activity underneath it, you would not be able to go in and edit your content. It was essentially locked. And there's a good reason why we did that. However, we know that it can be kind of troublesome if you have existing topics that you want to go in and make edits to. So I'm going to go ahead and open this conversation up here about the baskets that we offer. And so I posted this conversation earlier today, and Ramya was really excited. She came in and posted a reply. So in theory, I shouldn't be able to edit this conversation. But what we've allowed now is that moderators or people with management seats, if you have posted the topic itself, you can go in and edit your content at any time. So again, to edit the topic at the topic level, we just click on this little icon that looks like a pencil and a piece of paper. I have the ability to edit the title, or I can actually edit the details of the conversation. So we could say, like, they come in green, blue, and natural. And then go ahead and click post. It is a best practice, especially since we've already had someone comment on the conversation, to add a note down here. You could, put it in italics that says updated and then the date. That way, we're just maintaining transparency and letting people know that, the information has been updated, so it's a bit different than what she had seen earlier this morning. Then when you're all done, you just go ahead and click post. A couple other moderation actions that I want to call out at the topic moderation level are merge and move. So move is actually a tool that we used to have that we just brought back with some different functionality attached to it. So when you move a conversation, you have to have a management seat in another community in order to be able to move the conversation to that community. Previously, the conversations could be moved wherever, and sometimes that would present problems with the wrong things being moved into the wrong place. So just to ensure that the right content stays in the right communities, you're only able to move conversations if you have a management seat in a different community. And so assuming you do, you would just click move and choose from the drop down which community you want to move the conversation into. And then you would click move and the conversation itself would move. The merge functionality, it still behaves the same way that it used to. It just looks a lot different and it's a lot more clean. The searching up here is really easy. So you can search by a keyword, or if you had a direct URL from your community that you wanted to copy and paste, you could paste the URL in here and pull the conversation up by URL as well. When you search, it again shows the previews of the different topics, and it shows you what type they are. So we have our company update right here, questions, a couple questions, and an idea. It will show you a preview of the topic details. If you want to see, really like the full topic, you click, and it will show you the full topic right here, and then you can decide if you need to merge or not. If you don't want to, you simply just click back. You can also click cancel to exit out of the action. All right. The final element that we really wanted to make sure that we took care of in the initial release was making it really easy for community managers to switch between that grid layout that you're used to, as well as into the conversation detail. So this button up here, the grid icon, is your ticket to that. You click it, you're back in the grid. You can open up conversations, and that helps you navigate back and forth. Also, when you're in the detail view, you can simply navigate to conversations while you're in it. All right, so that's everything that I have prepped for the demo. I know we have a lot of a lot of questions that are coming in already. There's a couple of things that Ramya, I'm gonna have Ramya cover before we answer the questions, specifically around what's coming next. What are the features that we're enhancing? What are we working on? What are the things that you can expect to see from us over the next few weeks, months, as we continue to iterate on this application? So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and move back to Ramya.
Thanks, Katy. Yeah, now that we saw Manage Workspace and see it in the works, I would like to thank each one of you there for sharing us feedback. Majority of those feedback we are in the process of covering a majority of those features. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our short-term roadmap and what are some of the upcoming features we plan to introduce in this business application. So the initial phase is going to be around addressing some of the feedback that we have received in the community after the release, and also a lot of feedback that we received during the beta program. So those are the next items that would get addressed within Manage. And once those items are addressed, we plan to start working on the ability to saving views and people management, and I'm going to talk about them in a minute. What is saving views? So with Manage Workspace, you saw that using a filter, you could go ahead and select certain attributes that you would want to constrain the list of constrain the view for you. For example, if you were looking at all conversations and were interested in only pulling those conversations which were of a certain conversation type, perhaps it's a question or a problem, you would apply a filter on it, and then you would select the columns that you might be interested in viewing. Imagine how easy it would be if you could create custom views. So let us say if you are a community manager who is interested in knowing all the problems that were posted in the community and were interested in 4 different columns associated with it, you could just go pick and choose those different columns, select that attribute by saying, hey, topic type equal to question, and then once you did that, you could go ahead and custom your view. Likewise, if you are a product manager, you could go ahead and select the category type. Maybe you're interested in a particular product, and so you could go ahead and create a filter for it. So the idea of saving of views is you could go select certain filter criteria, certain column criteria, and create a named view for it. And then the first thing you can come in the morning and do is pick those views and then start operating out of them. These views are now going to be part of the set of views that you would see in the view slider right here on the left hand side. So right now, if you were to click on the conversation, those would bring up the default views. Once you start to have saving of views, you would see your named views in that list.
So just quickly before we move on, John actually had submitted a question about asking if there were plans to save views. So the answer is yes, saving views is coming soon.
Thanks, Katie. Moving on to people management. People management is also going to be another thing that you will start to see within Manage. Currently, what you notice is an icon on the left top corner, which clicking on which you would see conversation management. Soon we would be introducing the notion of people management. Clicking on people management would, like conversation management, bring in all the members in your community. Perhaps they participated in your community and did certain actions. So it would list all the members in the community along with their particular role and the activity that they're performing. This is actually a very familiar interface to what you see in content management. It is the detail view of a member that you see in the community. You would see details around that person. When did they join the community? When was the last time they participated in the community? What kind of actions have they taken? And then the specifics of those actions. For example, it could be a conversation that they posted, or perhaps a reply that they have posted to a conversation. One thing we do want to introduce in this application is the ease of navigation between different things. So as we start to introduce these features, or as we start to introduce people management, if you were to click on a conversation created by a member, it would automatically bring you to the content management area or the conversation management area, where you can see the entire specifics of that conversation. Likewise, if you were looking at replies, it would bring you back to the content management, and then if you were clicking on a member, it would bring you back to the people management. So it provides a very easy mechanism to navigate back and forth if you were ever looking for specifics or additional details for a particular conversation or a member that you were looking at any point. So now that we've seen basically the enhancements that we plan to bring into the Manage Workspace, specifically as it relates to saving of views and people management, we are very keen on hearing more from you on what you like, what are certain things you would love to see. Feel free to post a topic in the community and connect with us if you had any other questions as well.
All right, thanks. So speaking of questions, we have a lot, which is awesome. I was really hoping that we would. So I'm just going to start going through the list. Because there are quite a few questions, if we don't get to them by the end of the session, which I think we're going to shoot to wrap up around like 10:45 or so, we might go a little bit longer if people are interested in staying on the line. But if we, for some reason, miss your question, we'll either get back to you or we will get back to you via email about it. You can also, like as shown on the screen, go in and post in our community. That's actually how we're tracking a lot of the feedback that we're getting. There's a category all set up for you called Manage Workspace. Just go ahead and post. But so we've already answered the first question about views. The second question comes in from Jade. Why are topics created by employees showing up under the no employee replies filter? So that is something that we're working on. It's something that we noticed when the application went into production. Technically, because it's only looking at replies and an employee actually created the topic itself, they didn't post the reply, that's the reason why it's showing up. But we're working on enhancing that based on some feedback that we've had from people, so that's something that we should be able to get to like in the very near future.
That's right. It's one of those features which we would be addressing based on the feedback we received.
Yeah, sure, great. So John asks, we rely on tagging, private and public, for sorting purposes. Any chance that sorting on additional fields will be added?
That's a great question, John. Right now, a lot of our features and functionality are powered by some of the search infrastructure that we have. And so what you notice is you can filter, you can sort by certain items such as me too. We plan to introduce the notion of sorting by me too counts and reply counts and things like that. However, it's pretty valuable to group things by public tags or private tags. And this is something that is on our mind. We plan to continue work on improving our search infrastructure, and when that is in place, a feature like this would go into play.
So yeah, we are working on enhancing our search infrastructure later this fall. Once that new infrastructure is in place, we'll be able to add a lot more sorting and filtering options. So keep on the lookout for that. We'll definitely be talking about it a lot in our community as we get closer to that date. Kristen asks, will we have more bulk actions later? It would be great to add products or tags that way.
Absolutely. Again, what we did with the current bulk actions was we looked at the current usage pattern of members, and majority of the bulk actions that were being applied to the things in the community. But this is something that's on our mind. So in the future, we would be starting to introduce other bulk actions. This is certainly something that we can keep in mind when we start introducing those bulk actions.
Perfect. Caty asks, great name by the way. I'm not seeing a sorting arrow next to status. Will it be possible to filter by status so that all unanswered questions are bundled together, for example? So I believe that's one of the features that again relies on the new search infrastructure to provide those sorting capabilities. What you could do right now in the view settings menu, there is the option to add a filter by no status, for instance. And we are going to be adding a filter for without replies, like without any replies whatsoever in the future. So you could kind of use either one of those as kind of workaround short term, but hopefully with the new search infrastructure in place, we'll be able to provide a mechanism so that you can just sort on the status and have like your list of all your answered in order, followed by everything that's not answered. Rachel, is it possible to see the author's email address like you can in the previous management view? We found that useful for looking at people's accounts with us when they have an account-specific question.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, if you were to hover over a person's avatar, it shows you their email address. If you were to click on their name, it brings you to the user profile that you see in the community. As we continue to build people management, this is something that we will bring back in Manage Workspace, wherein you should be able to see a quick overview of that person's profile. And in addition, clicking on it will bring you back to people management. So you could do it in two ways.
Sorry, I'm just reading these questions. I can't read as fast as I talk. So Caty asks, when you use the WYSIWYG editor to link text in a reply, will the link be made by default to open in a new tab or window, or should you still use HTML for that link to make that happen?
So currently, we do not support any HTML within the existing WYSIWYG editor. Pretty much majority of the rich text editing capability are available within the editor. While we have that, we still want to introduce some of these notions in the future. So it does open in the new tab. You can right click and it would let you open it in a new tab. However, it would not let you add any HTML tags as it stands right now.
All right. Erica, can we create more than one private tag?
That's a great question. I know this feature has been requested. Again, this is something that we are thinking of introducing when we look around this new search infrastructure. For now, I would say we would be supporting only one private tag, but in the future, that's something we plan to consider as a part of the new infrastructure.
Yeah, it's definitely a popular feature request. I hear it when I talk to customers. I want it, me and my team want it. So our product team is very aware of that. we have some enhancements that we have to make on the data model side before we can actually bring that into play, but it's definitely something that we're very aware of and that we know would be really useful. Rob asks, can any manager update the conversation or only the manager that started the conversation?
So as it stands right now, you can only edit conversations created by you or any kind of content that is created by you. You can also edit that same content even if it has any child in it, meaning if it's a conversation and has a reply or a reply has a comment, you can still edit it. In the future, we certainly want to provide business users the ability to go and edit any content. However, we want to keep this notion of transparency in mind. So once we have all this changes reflected in the activity log, imagine if you were to say, hey, can I view the changes that have been applied to this conversation? So once we bring in a feature like that, we will allow business users to go edit any content, but up until then, you can only edit your content.
Your own. Kilamba asks, to what level of accounts will this be released and when will this go live? So this is available at all account levels right now. It just, again, requires a management seat to access it. So most of our plans, depending on what plan you are on, you have a certain number of management seats. So anyone with those management seats would be able to have access to it. Lisa asks, would it be possible to include the author's email as a column option in the grid view?
Yeah, right. I understand currently in the management view or in the old management view, you had an email address. The only reason it was there in place is because we didn't have two different views for members and conversation. But now that we plan to have two different kind of features within our Manage Workspace, one for conversation management and one for people, we probably will keep them separate. However, the profile information right within the conversation would provide you additional details about that member.
Rebecca asks, on the old Manage screen, we had the ability to filter by author, which was very helpful for us. I don't see that option on the new filter screen. That's something that we're working on in the short term to bring back. And then in time, once, again, people management is released, there will be search and options for being able to search on people directly from people management itself. Okay. So we have a few others. Kristen asking about the ability to have type search, like type ahead search instead of just a giant list. That's something that, again, depends on this new search infrastructure that our team is working on implementing this fall. So once that's in place, then absolutely type ahead will be something that we're going to add. Krista, will there be an option to assign topics within the management console coming soon?
That's a great question. Currently, our main focus is around incorporating some of the feedback that we've received on the new Manage Workspace, and then providing an ability to saving of views and people management. So that's mostly our short to midterm goal, and once we are covered on that, assignment is another big feature that has been requested, so that's certainly on our mind.
Ken asks, I created a video that I would like to post. It is in MP4 format. How do I upload it? So right now we only support the embedding of videos. We don't actually allow video uploads on the platform itself. So you would need to upload your video to YouTube right now, and then you could use the link in the Manage Workspace application to embed the video from YouTube itself. And if you want to go ahead and post in our community, I can help you out with that further if you run into troubles. Is there a way to filter on topics that have no category? I need to find those that don't have a category and assign one.
Today, you are able to only filter by one category at a time, and it doesn't necessarily provide a mechanism to filter with no categories. Again, it's one of those things which is going to be effective once we have that new infrastructure. So majority of the features, mainly that has to do with either filtering and or sorting and grouping kind of things, sort of are tied to that group.
So there's going to be lots of good stuff like once the new search happens is basically what we're saying. And Anna asked, can you tell us more about the plans for the new search? I actually can't, but our CTO Dave absolutely would be able to. So there's a couple ways that I guess we could go about doing this. I could ask them if he'd be interested in doing maybe like a webcast on it, or if you want to post a question about it in the community, you could say something like, Caty and Ramya told us that there's going to be new search coming. I'm really excited about it. Can you tell me more? We can get Dave to go in and give you a little bit more information there.
One comment I would like to add on that one in particular is right now, majority of the features that you see in Manage Workspace are powered by our backend system and our new infrastructure API. So search obviously is a big part and is on our mind. But while we keep that in mind, we are currently utilizing a lot of these APIs and powers to power our application. So Dave would be able to enumerate a little more on that there.
Perfect. On an archived conversation, can people be linked to a more current conversation if they click on an old link? I think you're sort of asking almost like a redirect option where like if they hit the old link, it'll automatically bump them to something new. At least that's the way I'm understanding that. That's not something that we support right now, and I don't know if that is on the roadmap, though it is a really great idea. You could go in and suggest it. What I do right now when I need to link people to a more current conversation is I'll actually post a reply and say like, you know, I need to archive this conversation because it's out of date. For more up-to-date information, please see this, and then I'll link to it in like the reply. And then also when you actually go and archive the conversation and it gives you the option to submit a reason for archiving, I'll usually include the link in there too. And if you wanted to make the link look prettier, you could use like a link shortener. But those are two ways that we do it now. I don't know if we would support some sort of like redirect like that, but it's a very good idea for sure. Let's see, so we're getting close to wrapping up. We still have a couple questions in here. Pete asks, he says he's clicking on a question or post and doesn't see the email address. Can you post that in our community, or I'll reach out to you via email to help you with that one directly. Sorting conversations by type, again, you can filter by type. So if you want to see all ideas, you could go into the View Settings menu, filter by ideas, and hit Apply, and that will show you all ideas. The ability to actually like sort that type column along with like the status column and a couple others is not available, though it's something that we'll be exploring once we have the stronger search infrastructure in place. All right. And then I'll go ahead and wrap with John. To that point, will we one day be able to apply multiple filters? And the answer is yes. With the new search infrastructure, that will be able to power multiple filters. And so you can create views with multiple filters, then you'll be able to save them, and the world will be a happy place. You can see new content coming in. You'll be able to assign things down the road. So it's going to be really cool. I'm actually really excited about this application. Our team has been working very closely with the product team on it and making sure that we get as much customer feedback incorporated as possible. So we really appreciate, again, you guys taking the time to join us today. I know that everyone is super busy, so it's really great. And if you can, we've gotten a lot of great questions and great ideas from this conversation as well. Ramya and I will add those on our side, but if there's anything else that you think of later today or as you're using the app, go ahead and post it in our community and our team will get back to you. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the webcast now. The slides should be available after, and Ramya and I will include a page of resources or like help materials at the very end. So if you want to download the slides, we'll include the links to the help page and the video and a couple other things in there for you. But I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thanks again for joining, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.